Hold on. Okay, fine. So and also Bharat, I have given you a recording option, so you can start recording it. Yeah. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just go here. Okay, fine. So yeah, if you see here, so today we are going to talk about these two data points as well as the remaining two data points. So one is the numeric data types, in which we have total 4 data types, and remaining thing is the non-numeric or float point data types. So here float point data types, we have float and double, and these two are, we'll talk later. So first we'll try to discuss this one and then we'll come back to this one. Okay, so here when it comes to the float and double, okay, so these things, when are we going to use these things? So generally, if you wanted to represent a value with decimals, so let's say if we're trying to represent a value with some decimals, let's say the price of anything, so $9.99 or something Indian rupees, so 10 rupees some 49 cents, or like 49 price, or like some 99 rupees 99 cents. So whenever you are trying to represent a value with decimals, so definitely we have to go for the float point data types. These two are called float point data types, in which you can use any one of them. But when we have to use which one and what is the significance of this float and double? Okay, so here when it comes to this one, so that float point is accurate for up to like 6 to 7 decimals. So let's say if you wanted to have a 1 minute, so just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you wanted to have an accuracy up to 7 decimals, if you wanted to have an accuracy up to 7 decimals, we can happily go for float point data types. Okay, so if you wanted to have the more than that, up to 15 points, like let's say 10.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you wanted to represent up to 15 decimals as accuracy, definitely you can go for double data type. But generally, so which one is preferable and which one is used to in our automation? So most of the cases we are going to use only double. Okay, so even you can go for the float, but frequently used data type is the double only. Okay, frequency data, even though like if you are trying to have only 2 decimals, 10.99, still we are going to declare with double only. So there is no specific reason why, because so when you go for this one, like in the runtime, sometimes if you are trying to get the value, so up to 15 decimals or like 15 or 16 decimals, you can hold that particular value when you declare the double as a data type. So if you declare the float, definitely you are limiting up to 7 decimals. Okay, if you declare the double as the data type in the runtime, it can hold up to 15 decimals. That's the accuracy. Okay, so here while declaring, we had to follow some format for float and double. We'll see that one when it comes to next concept, that is called the literals. Okay, so here, so float point data types can be used to declare any value to assign any decimal values. So if you are trying to declare like height, so when it comes to height, definitely had to have the 5.5, something like that, inches, or 5.6 inches, or price related things, or average, or median, something like that. If you are trying to declare some values which can contain the decimal points, definitely you have to go for either float or double. It depends on requirement. Okay, so most of the cases we will go with the double only. Okay, so now the next one is the, so 1 minute, let me open our sheet. Yes. Okay, so here if you see, so far we have discussed about the 6 things. But practically we have not seen it, but we are theoretically discussing what is the data types and what are the values can be assigned. Now the last two things are very, 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 very important, but in which Boolean is very, very important. Okay, so when you are trying to assign a value with either yes or no. So in a Java, we don't have this terminology. In place of yes, we have the true and or false. So now let's say you are trying to validate the page header. So when it comes to automation, you are trying to validate one page header or page title. So you are trying to validate is page title, something like that, some home page. So this function must return either true or false. So that means if you are trying to declare a function which is going to give some output in the form of either yes or no. So when we have that kind of situation, definitely we have to go for the Boolean data type. So Boolean can hold either true or false. But when it comes to practical, you will clearly understand why we need this condition or data type. Okay. So Boolean can hold only true or false, only true or false. Next one, the char. Char also very, very important. So we will discuss more. I'm going to just give high level example here, but when it comes to the strings concept, I'm going to discuss more about the char. Why? Because when you are trying to write any program, if you are not very clear about char, definitely you cannot write the good program. Okay. So char, what we can do? So char always it is going to say 2 bytes. That means 16 bits. Okay. So this char doesn't accept any negative values. So it takes only positive values. What are the values it can accept? It can accept A to Z, caps Z, and then 0 to 9. So here, if you see the char can hold up to 2 point. I think up to 2 power 16 it can hold. So that means it is around like 16,000, 65,535. So we'll show you that one. So that means char, we can assign the char values. A to Z you can assign, and caps A to Z you can assign, are 0 to 65,535. So this is the range maximum we can assign to the char. And here when it comes to A to Z, you cannot assign all the words. You can assign only single letter, single character. So that means we want to assign the char, C equals to single quotes A. Okay, char D equal to single quotes caps. So if you wanted to represent single letter, so you can use the char data type. But this one, it has the significance in writing programs when you are combining with the strings. So there, when it comes to the string concept, we are going to see few more functions about the char. What is the significance? What is the importance of the char data type? Okay, it's very, very important when it comes to the strings concept. Okay, now, so up to here we have seen all 8 data types. So in which first 6 are the numeric data types. That means it can hold only numbers. So in which again we have integral data types and then float point data types. Okay. And then these two are called non-numeric data types. Okay. So non-numeric data types only Boolean and char. These two. Okay. Now let's see another concept called literals. Now let me open my PPT so that where we are and what we are discussing will come. Just give you a minute. Okay. So here, if you notice here, we are discussing about Java fundamentals, in which we have talked about this one: identify reserved keywords and data types. Now the literals, this is very, very important for us. Now in this literal, what are the values and what is the format that we can use while assigning values to our data types. So far, whatever we have discussed, right, data types, total 8 data types. So for those data types, let's see how we can assign values. Let's see how we can assign values. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to open IntelliJ tool and then start writing or assigning values for these data types. Okay. So now let me just open one of the thing. So this one, don't worry what I'm trying to do, all these things. So after few sessions, maybe in the next week, I'm going to show you how to create a project, all these things. Okay. So here there are so many classes, so many things are there. So you no need to worry. So just to focus only on this concept, literals. Literals means value which we are going to assign. Okay. Now, so here, what is the format for this one? First, let's discuss theoretically for a few minutes, and then we can move to that one. So now, if you notice here, this is the int, and some value I'm giving, x, some 100. So what is this format? What is this is called? This is called the data type. Okay. This is called variable name. Okay. Variable name. This is called an operator, assignment operator. But we have the big topic to be discussed about the operators and all. For now, yeah, don't worry. Okay. There are so many operators we have. Okay. So this is the equals operator for now. Okay. Operator. What is this 100? This 100 is called the literals. So literal means it's nothing but the value which we are going to assign it to data type. Not only data type, it can be anything. As we go on, we are going to see so many things. Okay. Now, this is the thing you have to keep in mind whenever you are trying to assign values. So this is the data type, this is the variable name, and this is the operator, and this is the literal. Okay. Now let me go to IntelliJ and then start doing it one by one. Okay. Now let me just remove and go back. So here for now, don't worry what is what and what I am trying to do. Just concentrate the literals, the values that we are going to use for our assignments for particular data types. Okay. Now, so here I'm just trying to create a one class file. Okay. So here just don't worry. So what I'm trying to do it here. So this everything we are going to discuss in the upcoming sessions. What is package, what is class, everything. Okay. Now I'm just creating one package. Okay. So in which I'm just creating one class called the literals. So a class has been created here. Just don't worry. What is this? What is the all these things? How to create class? What is the importance of class and all? We are going to discuss the upcoming sessions. Okay. Now, so this is the class. For basic things, always you can create. So this is one file in which you can have a number of classes. It doesn't matter. But when it comes to standards, don't maintain more than one class here. You can create a number of classes here like this. Literals 2. Okay. So literals 3, something like that. You can create it, but this is not the standard way to create it. But we'll talk when it comes to the packages, how to create classes, how many classes must be there, how many class files must be there in one particular file. Okay. So for now, I'm just removing this one. So I'm going to keep only one class here in a particular file. This is the file that we are referring right now. Let me just close everything. Okay. Just take a look here. Okay. So here we are going to talk about literals. That means what are the values that we are going to assign for the data types that we have been discussing for last 2 days. Okay. So now these are the comments. There are multiple types of comments are there, but don't worry. What I am trying to use all these things we will discuss. Okay. These are the data types. Okay. These are the comment section, that is called as a comment section. So here, what are those things? First thing is the byte. Okay. Second one is the short. Third one is the int. Fourth one is the long. And fifth one is the float. And sixth one is the double. Seventh one is the boolean. Okay. Last one is the char. Okay. So these are the things. Okay. So these are the data types that now we are going to see, and the literals. What are the values that we are going to assign? So before going to this one, let's have a simple look. Okay. So there is a hierarchy for these all data types. Okay. So for all the data types, in the sense except boolean, there is a hierarchy you have to follow. This is very, very important when you are trying to write piece of code in your project. So what is the hierarchy, how it follows? So let me see. First one is the byte, is the very smallest one. Next one is the short. Okay. Next one is the int. Next one is the long. The next one is the float. The next one is the double. Okay. So here char is there. Char can be assigned to this one. So that we'll talk later why char only can be assigned from here. So if you notice here, these are the total 6 data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double. That means all are numeric data types. Okay. All can hold numbers. All can hold number. Can be anything. Up to here, this can be the whole number. Okay. These two can hold decimals. Okay. So now hierarchy, if you notice here that hierarchy, what is the meaning of hierarchy? Now that means here, let me just again rewrite here, byte. Okay. B-I-T. Okay. So byte value can be assigned to the short value. Okay. Short value can be assigned to the integer value. We'll see practically what does this mean. Int value can be assigned to the long value. Long value can be assigned to the double value, sorry, float value. Float. Okay. Float value can be assigned to the double. Okay. So what does this mean here? So when it comes to here, the place, that memory which is going to occupy. So byte is going to occupy only 2 power 7. Something is there. 1 minute. Let me just cross check it. Don't remember exactly. Okay. So 1 byte equals to 8 bits. Okay. That means it's the 2 power 7 negative side plus 2 power 7 positive side. Okay. So if you are trying to declare 1 byte data type in the memory, it is going to allocate total 8 bits. You know, right, that memory allocation, how it happens? 1 byte. So generally, how 1 gigabyte equal to how many? 1024 megabytes. 1 megabyte equal to how many? 1024 kilobytes. Okay. 1 byte equals to 1 kilobyte equal to 1024 bytes, something like that. So based on this calculation, the value that you are going to assign, the data type that you are going to decide, that memory is going to use, like based on the bits or bytes, whatever it is. Okay. Now, so here if you notice, byte is the smallest one, double is the biggest one. Okay. So in which this is the order that you can assign values. That means byte value can be assigned to short value can be assigned to this one. So that means you cannot reassign this one. Why? Because when it comes to the integer is going to occupy more memory than short. If you wanted to reassign this one, there is some techniques, or like there is some procedures we have to follow. But always it is not possible, but there is some possibilities there. But we'll see. That is called the typecasting. That concept is called the typecasting, but we will see what it is. But all situations it is not possible, but few scenarios we can do it. So integer value to short value to byte, we can assign back to these values, but always it is not possible, but we can see that scenarios also. So byte to short, short to int, into long, long to float, float to double, we can assign the values. Okay. Now that means what? So when you create the byte value BITE, B equals to some value 100. So when I assign or when I create a value in the memory, it is going to allocate some 8 bits, some container. That means this is the space, for example. Now I'm trying to create the short S equal to some 100. So it's not depending on this value, it's depending on the data type that we are declaring. So this data type can hold up to some range. So up to that range, you can declare it. It can be like some 32,000 something is there, right? You can declare it. It doesn't vary based on the value that you are going to assign. So it is going to create or allocate memory based on the data type that we are creating. Okay. Now, when I create the short, my container is going to be like this. When I create a integer, my container is going to be like this, that memory container. So here, this container can fit into this one, but this container can't fit into this one, right? In the same way, this container can't fit into this one. Okay, sorry, this container can fit into this one, but this one cannot fit into here. So that's the reason these values can be assigned like this. Okay, but backwards it's not possible, but very rare scenarios we can do it. But it is possible, but very rare scenarios. Okay. So here, when I go for long, the container size is going to be like this. Now I can assign into value here, and then next one double, and then float or double. So now let's see what are the values that we can assign. Okay. So here, first thing. So now I'm trying to use the byte. So what is the byte range? So first, how to assign the values? Byte. This is called the data type. So here you can declare your variable name. So variable is nothing but which is going to represent your values. Okay. So this can be anything. You can have any name, but we have discussed identifiers. So when you are declaring, you must follow the standards, camel case standards. Okay. So here, and also, and one thing you have to keep in mind, the reserved words that we have seen, total 53 reserved keywords. You cannot use these reserved keywords for declaring any class members. That means we cannot use this byte or class for declaring the class names, variable names, function names, block names, constructors names. No, you cannot use reserved keywords. Reserved keywords are meant for to represent something in Java. You cannot use those reserved keywords from some other purpose. Okay. Now, next one. Now, here I'm just declaring B equals to, I'm declaring some value called 100. Now, here, if you notice here, so this B represents data type. This represents B is called variable. This 100 is called literal. Okay. Value that we are assigning to B. Now the value of B is 100. Value of B is 100. So what is the maximum range of bit? Sorry, maximum range of byte? It's a minus 128 to plus 127. Now let's say if I'm trying to declare 128, it is not going to accept. So what is the error it is going to get? So incompatible byte. But we'll see why it is going to get these things. Okay. Now, so the next one, it must be within the range. That means 127 plus side, and negative side, if you want to try to assign, minus 128. So if you go for beyond minus 128, it is not going to accept. Okay. So within the range, you must declare your byte value. So byte value is very, very small value. Okay. Definitely most of the cases, byte we are not going to use very frequently. Okay. Now the next one is the short, SHO short. That's equal to, what is the maximum range of short? Maximum range of short is some 32,767. 32,767. Okay. So you can declare up to 32,767 number. So if you go beyond that, definitely it is not going to allow. Okay. On negative side, it's going to be 32,678. If you go beyond that, 79, I think it's a 78 or 79. Sorry, 768, I guess. Yeah, 768. Okay. So if we go beyond that, definitely it is going to be an error. So 36,000. So let me just put it here. So some comment so that it is easy for you. So byte value, okay, from minus 128 to plus 127. Okay. So here for short one, okay, sorry, let me add the comments more. Okay. So short value from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Okay. So the range must be within this one. So short value must be within that range only. Then only your here, like there are so many things like compiler, all these things we are going to talk, but later. So your program will not accept. That is how it has been designed. You have to go in that way only. Now, next one. Next one is the most popular one and mostly used in any project is called integer, int. It's called the int. Okay, int I equals to, we can declare up to 1 minute. Int value from minus 2, 1 minute, minus 2, 1, 4, 7, 4, 8, 3, 6, 4, 8. This is the negative range and positive range is 2, 1, 4, 7, 4, 8, 3, 6, or 4, 7. Okay. So this is the maximum range. So if we go beyond this one, let me copy and put it here. So it can go up to here. Now, if you are trying to declare out of this range, it is going to give some error. Okay. So here, if you notice here, that error is integer is too large. But here, when I put it, it's not giving short is too large. Why? What is the reason? There is big reason behind that one. We'll see later that one. Okay. But for now, just try to focus what is the maximum value we can assign for integer, I mean data types. Okay. Now, okay, I'm putting back the value. So this one also I'm going to put it back. Next one is the long value. Okay. So long value, it's very difficult to declare. It's a kind of minus 2 power 63. So 2 minus 2 power. Power means like this. We are going to do 63 2 plus 2 power 63 minus 1. This is the max. So I don't remember what is the value. It's a huge number it is going to be. Now, here one thing you have to notice. Now, take a look here. Long is the data type. L equals to 10. Okay. Okay. Just take a look here. Okay. Now, long L1 equals to 5,000. Some value. It is 5. Now, long L2 equals to, I'm giving more than this integer number. Okay. Up to here, it is 5. Now, just 1 minute. Long L4 equals to 8. Now, just take a look here. 1 minute. So, here is the logic we'll have. So, if you notice, what is the size can be assigned to a long? What is the max value we can do it? It's nothing but 2 power 63 minus 1. This is the plus side. That means positive side. So that means definitely this value is going to be some huge number. But here, if you notice here, this is the integer value. When I cross integer value, when I cross the integer range, okay, when I cross integer range, it is throwing an error saying that integer is too large. Why? What is the reason? But it has the capability of holding up to the big number. Let me go to Google and check the maximum value for long. Okay. Number range for long. Okay. Oh, what is this number range for? Range for long, okay, long data type. So there is the huge number if you notice here. So long 4 byte. Yeah, this is the one. So if you notice here, this is the maximum number that we can use it here. Let me just go back and just put it here. Okay. So when we have a capable of holding this much big number, then why when we are trying to write a program, it is not able to hold up to this number? Okay. Just keep in mind always there is a rule in Java for numeric data types. Numeric data types. Okay. What is that rule? Okay. Whenever you are trying to assign a value for any one of the numeric data types means byte, short, int, long. Okay. Whatever value that we are trying to assign right side, by default, by nature, it is going to be the integer. By nature, it is going to be the integer value. So that means when you are trying to assign the value, so here 100, this is the integer value. Integer, what is the maximum range of integer? This is the maximum range of integer. Okay. So when you assign some value to the byte or short or integer or long, right side, whatever value that we are trying to assign, by default in Java, it is going to be considered as an integer. Okay. So integer. So that is why here, if you notice here, what is the compilation error or like error we are getting? So incompatible types required byte but found integer. So that means it is expecting byte because this is left side we are trying to assign the byte value. The range has been crossed, but that range is within the integer. Okay. So when we are trying to assign the value, it must be within the byte range only. But if it goes beyond, even though it is 128 also it's considered as integer only, but it is within the range of this byte. Okay, that is the reason why it is giving incompatible types. So found integer but required byte. Now I'm putting it back. The same rule is applied for long also. For long also, what happened? So when you declare long equals to, this represents up to integer, whatever value we are trying to say, the integer only. Integer range is what? Maximum range is the 214,748,3648. This is the maximum range. When I cross this one, that means when I add one more number, this is not the integer. But by default in nature, when you add any number, it is going to be the integer only. But what we are doing, we are assigning a value bigger than integer range. Then what we have to do? So we have to convert this number into long. For that, the way we are converting is just we have to declare L. So now automatically this value will be converted into long and we are assigned to this value. Okay, assigned to this value. Now, so this L can be small l or caps L. It's up to you what you wanted to declare. But always try to declare with the caps uppercase so that you can differentiate. But sometimes what happens when I declare L, there is a possibility to get confused whether it is L or 1. Okay. Don't do that mistake, or like always go with the L. Okay. And here. So don't keep any gaps or don't give any spaces. Always both together. Okay. Now you can declare to declare a long value, long data type, you have to specify the L at the end. If your value is going to be crossed more than integer data type. Okay, integer data type, it is going to be crossed, you have to declare. Okay, this is how it is going to be. The next one. What else we can do? So here, this is about the long and numeric data types. But when it comes to, this is the most powerful and mostly used data type in any projects. in our automation projects, but very rarely we are going to use the long and remaining two. Remaining two, I don't think we are going to use. Okay, we will never ever use it. We will be using mostly 99.99% this data type, and long we are going to use in specific scenarios. Okay, so now next one. 1 minute. Yeah, okay. So this is the value assigning for data types. Values assigning for data types. Next one, float point data types. How to assign values for the float point, that is float and double. Okay, so here now let me just go here. Float, okay, f equals to some 10. Float is equal to 10. So 1 minute now, 10.0. Yeah, just take a look here. So now what is the hierarchy for us? Byte to short. Okay, short to integer. So into long, up to here we have seen. So int value can be assigned to long. When we are crossing the int value, we have to convert that into long by applying L at the end of your literal. Okay. Now, next level is the Boolean. Right. Next level is the float, and then double. Okay. So these two are called float point data types. Okay, float point data types. Now I'm trying to declare one float point. So here integer value can be assigned to float, right? So in this hierarchy, we can assign byte value to the float, or byte value to the integer, or short value to the double. Okay, long value to the float or double, right? We can assign like this. Okay, but when we are trying to assign, when we are trying to declare decimal points, what would happen? So here I have not declared the decimal points, but still it can hold all numeric data types values. Up to here it can hold numeric data type values, but internally it is going to print 10.0, something like this it is going to, but we will see that one later. Okay, but explicitly when I'm trying to assign like this, why it is not accepting? Okay, now let me just print this one and see what is happening. Public void, public static void main, okay, string. Okay, so some args. System dot out dot println. So let me make it the static for now. So don't worry what are all these things and all. I'm just trying to print one of the value so that you'll know what it is printing. Okay, so float value. Okay. Okay, now let me just print this one and see what is happening. So if you notice here, if you take a look here, so how that float point has been printed internally, this has been converted into float decimal and it is printing. Now, what if I externally assign the value? Why it is not taking? So the reason behind this one is for float point data types. For float point data types, okay, whatever value that you are trying to assign, that means this is the float, f variable, and value, some value we are trying to assign. Okay, this value always it is going to be double. It is going to be double. So for for numeric data types, always is going to be integer. For float point data types, whatever value that we are trying to assign, by default, internally, it is going to take it as a double. So that means double value can't reassign back to the float, right? So that means what happens? Double is created in this big container, but float is created in this container. This can't go here. Now to reassign back to the float, the thing that we have to follow is I have to keep f. So when I keep f, this will be converted into float and it will be assigned. Now let me print this one and see what is happening. See, float point is printed same. Earlier we have given just 10. 10 is representing the integer value. So integer can be assigned to the float or double. So when we assign to the float, internally it is converting it as a decimal point. It is declaring. Now let me add few more things here. Okay. Now when I print this one, let's see what is the accuracy. What is the points or decimals it is going to print. Okay. Now let me just run this one. See, up to here, sum to here. See, if you notice here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up to 6 characters, up to 6 decimals, it is going to give that accuracy. After that, what it happened? So when we are trying to give the value, after some point of time, we are going to round to the next level. So at 0.8888. So after up to 6 characters or 6 decimals, it has given that 6th one, it converted into the next level 9. So it is printed like this. So when you are trying to get some decimal accuracy up to 5 or 6 points, you can go for float concept. You can go for the float concept. Now, the next one. So the double. So this is the frequently used one in our projects. Float we may not be using most of the cases. Okay. B equals to now again 10. Okay. So for double we can assign the 1 minute. Let me print this one. Double value. So D. Okay. Let me make it static here. Okay. Now let me run this one. What it is going to do. Okay. Double value 10.0. Now let me have it dot 0. So here no error. Why? Because by default this is the double value. We are assigning double value to the double value. Right. So that's why it is not doing any error. Now let me take the same here and put it here. Okay. So float value can be assigned to the double. See, even if f is there or not, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, I mean it doesn't make any difference. Okay. So here this is the float. Float can be assigned to the double. So here when we assign the f, what happens? This is the float. So float always can be converted into double or fit into the double. So here it doesn't matter whether you are declaring f or not when you are assigning value to the double. Okay. Now let me just run this one and see what is going to happen. See, up to some points like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if you wanted to have an accuracy up to 15 points, you can definitely go for double. You can definitely go for double. So the difference between if you wanted to get the accuracy of the decimals, definitely you can use based on your requirement, what value you are going. But generally what happens, we are going to declare like this: double price equals to some 100.98, something like this. Maximum we are going to use the 2 decimals only, maximum. Very rare cases like some stock market. So stock market, they will take up to some accuracy, like from 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, or 8 points. It depends on how they are going. It depends on the financial transactions, how they are going to do it. Okay. So this is how we are going to assign our values to your data types. So total 8 data types, or 8, in which we have seen total 6 data types. So for 6 data types, this is how we are going to assign values. The next 2 we'll see and we stop for the day. Okay. The next one is, okay, non-numeric data type. What are the non-numeric data types? Float, sorry, Boolean and char. Okay, how we can, it's very simple, this one. So Boolean B equals to, okay. So maybe already it's a duplicate is there somewhere. So that's why it's not taking. Let me just be while. Okay. So it will take only true or false. If you assign 1, nothing, it is not going to accept. It is going to take either true, Boolean, okay, bool2 equals to false. So it is going to take only either true or false. True or false only it is going to accept. Okay, it is going to accept. The next one is the char one. Okay, char also is very simple. So you can represent char c equals to. So always to represent the value from A to Z or caps A to Z. Okay, within single quotes you can use it. So yeah, that's it. So char cd equals to, if you want to represent big one, you can do it. But numbers also can be assigned to 0 to 9. So 0 to 9 means maximum what is the number that we can assign. Char cd c equals to, okay, 0. It can take 0. Sorry, it's 0, right? Yeah. Next one, char cl equals to, okay, what's the maximum for this one? So we can use the maximum is the 65,535. 65,535. So internally what happens? Internally, it is going to represent some sign value for this one. Now let me print and see what is happening here. Static. So this represents the CL. Let me put it here. Okay. Char value. When I run it, it is going to give some different symbol. See here, some symbol is there, some box symbol. Now when I move to 10th, 40,000, something like that, is going to give some symbol. So that means in Java, you can print any character or any language letter in Java using your char data type. Okay, using your char data type. So generally, how like that keywords? I mean, keywords are used or created. So sometimes, like if you see, Chinese will have their own keyboards, or like even like you will have your keyboards with the Telugu or English, Hindi, Tamil, Kannada, all these things. How they are going to create? So based on this char data type only internally, they are going to configure or they are going to work based on this one only. So for each and everything, they are going to have their own number. So now let's see, 25,000 something. So it is going to print something. So using char, you can create, if you know, you can create your own keyboards and you can generate your own language also. So even like for Telugu also it is going to support. So now let me just show something 1400. It is going to use some number. It is going to represent some value. Now it is representing some n, something like that. Okay. So this is how, but when it comes to the string, I'm going to discuss few more things on the char side. Why? Because if we don't know the char, how to use and how to use properly, definitely when it comes to the strings concept, you cannot write programs thoroughly or perfectly. Okay. So these are the things. It's called the literals. So literals means nothing but assigning values for your data types. It's very easy, simple, and thing is you no need to worry. So generally when it comes to the real time, most of the cases we are not going to use these two. Okay, and then this one also we are not going to, this one also we are not going to use, and only int, double, boolean, char. These are the things maximum we are going to use it. Okay, so this is about, tomorrow we'll see some small kind of test. Okay, so you can answer for that one. So yeah, once it is done, yeah, we'll talk about the variables. Okay, variables we can talk. So first 10 minutes, we can see whatever we have learned so far. We are going to reiterate, and then we'll have a small test kind of thing. Okay. So go through this one, and whenever you get a time, so that, yeah, you will have some confidence. Okay. I'm stopping for now. So any questions now, we can talk for next 5 minutes.
Like slowly, we have to remember all this names, basically, right?
Bina, your voice is